Alright then, hello everyone and welcome to round 14 of the NEF1 Season 7 Championship. We are into the clutch time of the season. The last 5 races is underway and we are entering a triple header worth of sprint races. In this triple header, technically the championship could be decided, unlikely the way things are right now, but it is not an impossibility. We'll have a look at those standings in a little bit. Crucially for the championship battle, NEF1 is back on track racing for this week. Had it been next week, the championship hunt might have been over, but he is still very much involved in that battle, in that conversation. Ondrejek as well, along with Djokovic, entering the 5 last races. Slates wiped clean. It is all down to this. No Larks first out on track, then his teammate sadly absent today, so is Danny DC, teammate of Djokovic, and McLaren have a grip on this Constructors' Championship at the moment. Things can still change, but it is going the way of McLaren for the time being. We also wish Spenklo64 a very happy birthday, and hopefully he has a good race here to celebrate it. But then, an interesting one, this Kota, we always have a good race around here. For the first time we are making it a sprint race. So 2 races this, 1 sprint and 1 full length. I think it's 29 lap Grand Prix, so a bit of a long one. They're preceded by an 18-minute qualifying session. No Q1, Q2, Q3 format as is the usual, just a straight 18-minute shootout to start on pole position. Djokovic then, one of the main protagonists for the title this season, along with Nasi and Ondrejek, realistically the only 3 who can still win it. Wait and see how it goes for him. Djokovic on a bit of a slack in form though over the last 2 weeks. Hasn't been able to get the results in. Could have been able to get decent results in, but those mistakes have been creeping in and they have cost him dearly. As said, we'll have a look at the championship in just a bit of time. But then No Larks, the first one to start a flying lap for AlphaTauri then around this Kota circuit, which is a bit of a technical one. Long back straight, but overtaking not necessarily easy around this place, because just ahead of that long back straight you have a very tight, very weird hairpin-esque where it is very easy to lose time to your rivals ahead of you. So overtaking not going to be too easy around here, but we'll wait and see what everything's like come the sprint in the Grand Prix. The moment overcast conditions, not getting any reports of rain for the time being. Let's hope it stays that way. But then DRS opens around 100 meters into the straight, goes on right until the braking zone. And a bit of a split setup, track this as well. You got a very tight and twisty part that the No Larks is currently in. Got a technical part in sector 1, but then obviously you got the 2 long straights ahead of turn 1 and the long back straight, the longest DRS zone on the track. For those, you do need a bit of straight line speed, so it is a compromise around this track. The question is just how much you're willing to compromise. No Larks is about to set a first time on session. It's 133.757. Is that good? We do not know yet. Who's next to come across the line? It's going to be an Aston Martin, I reckon. It's going to be Padarang 900. It's only 1 time on the board so far. We're about 4 minutes into the session. We've got 13.5 to go. And on a track like this, it is very easy to just go wheel over the track limits, lose your lap, and that could be a massive factor at the end of this session. Wait and see. Padarang round the final corner then. Is he on par for 133? No, he's not. So 134 flat. He needs to pick up the pace a little bit if he wants to start, presumably in the top 10. Djokovic goes fastest out of anyone with a 33.327. No surprise there, but it's a decent lap nonetheless. No Larks, however, only 4 attempts off that. It's Wigan with a 34.284. Little Drips is about to come across the line. Good race last week out, not a brilliant qualifying lap that. 134.769 places him in last. Only ahead of his teammate JV8 on 135.7. JV8 also with some ground to make up. A beaty has done well at this track in the past. It was a long time ago now, however, but he does fancy his chances around here for this season. The only driver outside the top 3 in the championship to win a race this season has not gone unnoticed. A BT with a good run of form this season. Let's hope it continues on. As well as the birthday boy, currently going through Sector 1. And also, I think we've got to gift him the first track limits validation call-out of the session. Not going to be too thrilled with that one, I'm sure, as there is a stationary Aston Martin by the side of the road. Lee was just letting a BT go there. So here we go then, quadruple apex right-hander, bit of a tricky one. Stick very much to the inside, open up the entry to the penultimate corner. And then bit of a tricky last corner really, actually quite easy to spin your rear coming out of this turn. And Speedy is going to go second fastest, 33.556. Undercheck and Nasty both on outlaps. Hybrid not yet with a time on the board, but he's about to set one, he'll be next in line. He'll be next in line. Then we've got Spenclose is coming into the pit lane, I reckon, and Squidge out on what I would imagine is the second attempt. But I'm not quite certain yet. Did he go out earlier in this session, or is this his first flying lap? Bit hard keeping track of everything, and even though it's only 14 cars on the grid for tonight, Darren Style has put a lap in to put him up into P7, 134.699. Along with Hybrids 134.473 puts him up to P6. Wigan moment in P5. It's a decent lap that from the Swede. So JV8's retired from the session coming out of turn 1, and that is going to affect iWatts in just a moment, I reckon. Not quite, but Jay has spun it coming out of turn 1, and we will not see him until the sprint race then. Unfortunate that for JV8. We've also got Nasty. No, that is a BT causing yellow flag in Sector 2. Benassi van through the S section. This type of track where I do believe is going to go quite well, Nassi. Wait and see. Purple Sector 1, according to the game at least. Hopefully they'll sort those sectors out for us for the next game, because they're not always reliable. Sondercheck is a couple of sectors ahead of him. Sondercheck at the moment, the absolute favourite must be said to win the championship, but a lot can still happen. Lot can still happen, still 5 races to go. So here we go then, run the final corner with Undercheck, a little bit slippy at the exit, but oh my goodness, it's 32.512 from Undercheck. And how on earth? Nasty31, do you have any type of response? Now would absolutely be the time to do it, because, well, Undercheck at the moment is just checked out in pole position. Is he going to have a response? No, he is not. 33.186 for Nasty 31. Undercheck at the moment in a field of his own, and that is truly worrying pace. For the rest of the field there. Nasty, Djokovic, even if they improve a good amount on the next runs, it is not going to be good enough. I reckon there's a very, very decent chance Undercheck doesn't have to come out again for this session. And that is a worrying sign. That is a truly worrying sign of what is to come over the course of this event. Wait and see. So Vinay BT is out on his second flying lap, I do believe. So this is going to give us a decent indicator of if the track's actually evolving a little bit as well. Undercheck's time was set, to be fair, before Nasty's was quite a bit after Djokovic's was, so is Beattie going to improve by a significant margin now? He will, but not by a significant margin. A 10.5, still P4, but gets a bit closer to Djokovic. As for Spenclose then, heading into the hairpin then. Got to open up that exit, get the power as early as possible for the long straight, so it does... Yeah, it does really cost you if you can't get on the power properly ahead of this straight. Someone on the inside should let him go. Spenclose flies by, DRS shuts close, just heading into the braking zone, and now the tight and twist a bit. You can take so many different lines for this section, and I absolutely love it. We have 7 minutes to go in this session now. Djokovic is out on yet another flying lap. Here we go then, Spenclose round the final corner then. Is he going to be able to mount a challenge at the top? Not with that attempt. P7 at the moment for the birthday boy. Behind Nolux, ahead of Padarang, but this quite close in that midfield. Squidge, Nolux and Spenclose separated by the 10.5. As for Djokovic, I believe that lap was... No, it was not invalidated. It gets ever closer, improves by half a second actually. 132.739, so it is not over yet. Nassi does need to find a bit of pace, however. I believe he might be coming out on track soon. A beat is just now coming in. 6 minutes to go. Wigan then start hunting for time. And do forgive me if I sound a bit weird over the course of this event. I have got a cold that just kicks in whenever I start speaking. It's been like this for basically a week now. Started last Tuesday, ironically enough, just as I got done commentating on the last event. So forgive me if I sound a little bit odd every now and again over the course of the stream. Here we go with Wigan 71 coming around that beautiful, in my opinion, sector 3. And now into the very, very tight and twisty left-hander ahead of the quadruple right-hander. Copied straight out of the Turkish Grand Prix circuit. And now double left-hander to see out the lap. Not been a brilliant lap this though from Wigan, who is coming into the pit lane. What's his teammate doing at the moment? He is on an invalidated lap, which is not ideal this late on in session. Hybrid 472K, only other car out on track at the moment with a chance to improve. With 4.5 minutes to go. That is not going to happen on this particular lap. I have no clue why, but over 12 seconds down his previous best, so not going to see any improvement from Hybrid, which means nothing interesting going out on track at the moment. I would imagine then Hybrid's going to come in at the end of this one, just to get a new set of tires on another chance to go start anew. Does run very, very wide, however. And also, it's a tricky pit lane entry here, which drivers have been warned about. Not really allowed to crash in this pit entry if it affects anyone else, that is. So drivers will have to stay wary of that pit lane entry. As here we go, Iwat's currently sitting P13, is out on track on the outlap, and that should get this second round, or this last round of qualifying laps underway. And the skyline is clearing up quite a bit. It was really overcast and almost foggy when we started this session. Now, the sun's just starting to break through a little bit, thankfully. Which should allow for some warmer tyres and quicker lap times. And also one of the last times we get to admire an Alpine actually looking good, because next game it is not going to look good whatsoever. It's going to be incredibly boring, carbon livery with a bit of blue and pink splashed all over it. Alpine, what on earth was you thinking? As here we go, current provisional pole sitter out on track as well. Along with Nasi, Djokovic is about to come out just now. He's just heading out of the pit lane. So everyone will be out on track at exactly the same time, because a beat is coming out as well. The only one not coming out at the moment is JV8. Obviously that's because he retired earlier on in this session. I will stand up to run up the hill into the fast corner. Tackle nicely, nice apex, nice on the entry, comfortable, and you just gotta get the power down as quick as possible to set up the run into these S's. Gotta have the car set up beautifully for this piece of track, and ooh, I was just misjudging that. He has time to get around again, but that is going to start stressing him out a little bit. Needs to get a perfect run on the next attempt in order to finish decent up the order here. No Larks then, next in queue. Along with Nasi31, who's just now starting a flying lap. 1:33.1 is the time he has. 1:52.512 is the time that he needs to beat. And Nasi, is he feeling a little bit rusty perhaps after not racing for the last 2 weeks? Let's hope not. He's looking decent so far, but it's just a bit scrappy and not really an improvement in the fast sector. Down the run then through sector 2 and coming out of the hairpin, just a little bit wiggly there, not going to cost him too much time. DRS over on the back straight, and now only a couple of seconds left to go. Djokovic just getting across the line there. He is going to get one more lap in as well. Currently 2 attempts behind Ondrejek. Is Ondrejek going to be able to improve? And Nasi is not going to be on pole position. Went over the track limits. He's not going to make it round again. Nasi is going to stay third fastest. Ondrejek, what is he going to be able to do? He is not improving at the moment. Djokovic, it is all on him right now. And Djokovic is improving. Ondrejek now needs to find a little bit of time in the fat sector, or he might be at risk here, because Djokovic looks like he's cooking something. Oh, as Ondrejek gets a little wiggly coming out of sector 2, out of the long DRS right there, and this is not going to help his chances at all. Meanwhile, Djokovic is running along nicely. Now, the question is still an advantage. 2 tenths of a second. Is Djokovic going to be able to eat that up? This is going to be a close one for pole. People are getting closer and closer to Nasi, but crucially, they're not getting ahead of him. BT now down in 7th. Ondrejek is going to come across the line. Is he going to be able to improve at all? Did he salvage in the second sector, in the third sector? Yes, he does improve by a little bit. Now, Djokovic, what's he going to be able to do? Round the final couple of corners. Djokovic then now needs to improve by 3 tenths of a second. Has he been able to carry that much through, and he just pushes a bit too hard and invalidates in the final 2 corners, and Ondrejek will claim yet another pole position here, unless BT can do anything about it at the dying stages of the session. No, he can't. I believe it might have been invalidated as well. Stay 7th fastest. It's Ondrejek, Djokovic, and Nasi. Is the order of things at the end of the session. Iwatts was able to get a decent lap in there at the end, get up in P10, good performance from him. But Ondrejek, Djokovic, Nasi, followed by Squidge and Wigan in P5. Decent qualifying performance from the Swede after a couple of lackluster performances over the last 2 races. Along with then No Larks in P6, followed by Beat in P7 and Spenklos in P8. Padarang just behind him by a couple of attempts in P9. iWatts in P10, Drips in P11, followed by Hybrid, Darren, JV8 is the starting order for the sprint race, where 8 points maximum can be awarded. Keep in mind, a lot can still happen. This is only qualifying for the sprint race, not the Grand Prix. That starting order will be determined by the results of the sprint. That is going to get underway in a couple of minutes' time. We're going to be going to a quick intermission before we get the sprint race underway. But a free 10th gap from Ondřejk to Djokovic, it could have been much less. But then everyone, as said, we are going to a quick break before we're going to go over the current drivers and constructors standings, and then the race is going to get underway. But it's going to be a couple of minutes until then. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. So then everyone, we are back, and before we get the sprint race underway in a little bit of time, we're just going to go over, as previously mentioned, the Drivers and Constructors Championship. And looking at the driver standings, it is Djokovic still leading the way on 201 points over Ondřejk's 196 and Nasi's 195. Matti not racing today and a bit further down, 159. Realistically out of contention. Squidge and Spenclose probably still mathematically in contention, but it is unlikely. Along with ABT, no Larks mathematically in contention, still just doing the quick maths. Danny, after this weekend, will be cut off from that train, and that is going to decrease every single time we're heading into a session. Now people are going to be mathematically eliminated. Looking over at the constructor standings then, it is McLaren leading the way on 304 points with a great opportunity to solidify that lead once again today. With Scuderia Ferrari in P2 is Djokovic and Danny, 266 points for them. And they're being chased down at the moment by Scuderia AlphaTauri on 233 and Williams on 227. That is turning into a little bit of a fight here at the dying embers of the season. Mercedes is doing all they can, but it's a one-man team at the moment with Ondřejk, Samo not racing. 144 points, and I don't reckon they'll be able to get ahead of Williams or AlphaTauri, but it is still a massive job from Ondřejk to get him up that high. Alpine in P6, followed by Red Bull in P7, Aston Martin in P8, Haas in P9, and a vacant Alfa Romeo sits P10. And I can confirm then that the ready up has been given by the admin team to get this show on the road, meaning we'll get going in just a couple of minutes' time. So, and it's going to be about 30 seconds until we have some racing action here in America. It's going to be absolutely brilliant. Racing at COTA usually works out quite well in this league. We've had a couple of absolutely brilliant battles in the past. Let's hope we have another one today. Maybe for the win, maybe something to determine the outcome of this championship. One formation lap out of a 10-lap sprint, then Ondřejček takes the green flag ahead of Djokovic and Nasi, as it has been so many times this season, those three starting on the top three of the grid. Then we have Squidge in P4, who's having a very consistent season up there, along with Wigan in P5 and No Larks in P6. A Beat in P7 and Spenklos in P8 would be the guys to score points, because points only go down to P8 for the sprint race, P10 for the Grand Prix. No fastest lap point as well for the sprint race is worth mentioning. Very good qualifying performance by Wigan 71 as well, must be mentioned. Get that Red Bull up to P5, good chance of scoring points, let's hope he can have a clean one. See some more points brought home to Red Bull. It's been an up and down season this from Wigan, but it does feel like he's just starting to find his form a little bit. Still very overcast conditions here. It's gone backwards from the end of qualifying. But it doesn't look like rain's on the horizon. As you can see, the lovely watchtower in the background there on the left-hand side of the screen. It's a beautiful circuit. This, unfortunately, doesn't really show in these incredibly boring conditions. Let's just call them that. Ondřejček at the moment breaking away a little bit from Djokovic and Nasi. Not really want to go along with the quick pace that Djokovic's displaying on the formation lap. Now just closing in a little bit. Djokovic's or Ondřejček's beginning to bunch up the field. As Darren Stahl then also not having a brilliant session. Going to be starting this race P13 alongside JV8. See if he can make a couple of moves to go up the order. Ondřejček then is going to be starting on the right hand side of the grid. Not necessarily an advantage that, but it's on the cleaner racing line. Djokovic's going to have the inside for turn 1, which is an incredibly sharp left-hander. Sharpest corner of the track. Now, might be able to throw one down the inside there. We'll wait and see. Opportunities for some fireworks here right at the start. Here we go then, as we're waiting for the 5 red lights to come on. And it's lights out, and we're going to be stuck just until then. And it looks like Djokovic gets away well, so does Ondřejček. But Djokovic's just slightly better on the second phase of the restart. He is going to have the inside line for the first corner. Ondřejček will have to defend the outside, and he manages to do so beautifully, going a little bit wide, but just inside the track limits. Nasi still in P3, not too much going on at start. They're relatively clean. Couple of drivers switching one position. Nasi is battling Squid at the moment through the SS, but just managing to hold that off. Crucial for his championship hopes, as BT's not had a good start, along with Spenklos and Padarang. All those up a couple of positions. Hybrid's out of this race through terminal damage. And what has gone on for Hybrid, don't yet know. But Hybrid is out of this race early in the SS, and we have a virtual safety car here at the start. And Djokovic is not going to be overly happy with that one, trying to set up Ondřejček right on this restart. Maybe we can get back to green flag racing action before this straight ends. It looks like everyone's speeding up. But they do have the delta to stick to, can't afford to break it. As it would be an instant drive-through penalty, and for any of these front three guys, that could be season over. But back to green flag racing conditions then, as Ondřejček gets a bit wiggly coming out of the left-hander. Djokovic too far back to do anything about it. No Larks on the back of Wigan. He has Iwatts behind him. Darren made a really good start actually. From P13 up to P8 and into the points. Both passed inside the top 10 as well for the second week in a row, as Ondřejček comes across the line on the first lap in P1. Djokovic though, maybe down the inside into turn 1. Are they going to make contact? Very close to each other. Oh, Djokovic just has to budge again, and Ondřejček very adept to be able to defend that outside line heading into turn 1. Djokovic just needs to get a bit more of his car on his inside there and just be able to dictate the corner in another way and maybe force Ondercheck a bit wide, not really allow him to take the line that he wants to. DRS will be enabled next lap, then that is going to allow Djokovic to set Ondercheck up in a bit of a different way. But he might not need DRS because he's going to go for it straight away on this next straight then, with the help of some slipstream and ERS, I'm sure. Down inside into the next braking zone then. Is Ondercheck going to back out of this one? Djokovic just forces Ondercheck a bit wide, but they're going to go side by side into the next one, and this is a brilliant sector. Because Djokovic might be able to stick one down inside into the left-hander, but no, he won't. And Ondercheck maintains position. Nice little battle this. But crucial for Djokovic now to not lose track of Ondercheck, as DRS will be enabled in just 2 corners time. Through the last corner then, 4 tenths of a second and then 5 tenths of a second down to Nassi. It's a nice little train this. Squidge with the fastest lap of the Grand Prix so far. Fastest man on track. Not a surprise, as Ondercheck and Djokovic would have been compromising each other a bit, and Nassi probably would have been affected. Squidge just a bit too far behind to be affected by it. And this just looks like the piece of track where Ondercheck is a bit stronger than Djokovic at the moment. Ondercheck might be a bit slower in a straight line, but he does pull away from Djokovic quite substantially in that first sector. Now, first time with DRS then, let's see what the closing speed is on this back straight. Is it going to be hard to overtake, or is it going to be immense? It is going to be hard overtaking around Kota here today. Not really catching too much with the aid of DRS there. Wait and see. 6 tenths of a second is the gap. Scott Nassi behind him. This is huge for the championship as well. But Djokovic just needs to finish close to Ondercheck in the sprint. He needs to start finishing ahead of Ondercheck now, or Ondercheck is going to win this championship. Same for Nassi. No driver in NEF1 has won more consecutive races than Ondercheck has, and that run is still going. 1:35.6 is the fastest time of the race so far. It's a quick lap that from Ondercheck on a set of medium tires, mind you, as well. Through Sector 1 yet again. And once again, Ondercheck just pulls away ever so slightly, but not as much on this attempt. Djokovic just a bit closer. Now is he going to be able to use that to his advantage with the slipstream maybe just being a bit stronger? Needs to stay patient here, but he gets a bit uncomfortable coming out of hairpin. Manages to keep it tidy. Now let's see. The closing speed looks significantly better, and here we go. Djokovic on Ondercheck is going to be able to pull the move off. Yes, he is, and Djokovic takes the lead at sprint on lap 4 out of 10. Would have maybe liked to compromise Ondercheck a bit more in order to get Nassi involved in that little battle as well. But Djokovic crucially up front now. Ondercheck, see what kind of straight line speed he has. He needs to get power. Well, he's not really under any pressure at the moment, Ondercheck, really, even if he's still P2. But he is going to be fighting for that win as hard as he can, I'm quite sure. Nassi being left a bit behind, but not out of the DRS range. Not able to compete with the front two for the time being, though. Padarang gets a 3-second time penalty for track limit infractions. Ondercheck just has a look into turn 1, thinks better of it. And now then, this is worrying for Djokovic. The sector where Ondercheck broke away from him. Djokovic is just, he's being eaten up here in this first sector by Ondercheck, which is setting Ondercheck's move maybe done DRS straight up beautifully 5/10 of a second or thereabout as we enter the left-hander just ahead of that little corner. But Ondrzejczyk might be in a good position to take the lead straight back here on the next lap. We know, however, that Ondrzejczyk likes sitting behind drivers for quite a while, just wearing them down, but this time he won't have to. Gonna go down the inside on the very next lap, and he's gonna secure the lead of the sprint race on this very attempt. Djokovic is gonna have the inside for the next corner. That's an awful angle, get me of it. And still side by side as we're heading into the next corner. Ondrzejczyk maybe gonna try to switch back. Djokovic coming out of it. No, he's not, but this is getting nasty involved in this little battle, which is playing into Djokovic's favour. Zai Watts now, freezing time penalty for multiple track limit warnings, which is good for Lil Trips and ABT at the moment, who'd seen themselves well into the points. Djokovic, Ondrzejczyk and Nasivan, the front three. Going along nicely at the moment. Ondrzejczyk still very much on the back of Djokovic through this sector. And even closer this time around. Here we go, and Ondrzejczyk is closing in on Djokovic yet again. Is Djokovic going to be able to put up a defense? He is trying to hang it around the outside, which worked for him on the last lap. Is not going to work for him on this attempt. Ondrzejczyk retakes the lead of the sprint race on lap 6. The lead lost 2 laps for Djokovic, wasn't able to hold on. Ondrzejczyk is back up front. And now breaking away just that little bit already. There's also another little battle quite intriguing at the moment. Wigan is right on the back of Squidge at the moment. No Luck's nowhere near the two. Not able to keep up here in the sprint race seems. So Squidge actually under pressure from Wigan 71 for the time being. So let's see if we can do anything with it. 3.5 laps to go. As Ondrzejczyk is now clear Djokovic with DRS range, which might allow Nasi to have a go. But the crucial thing is that DRS range has been broken. Which is going to allow Nasi to have a go, because look at the closing speed, but is not going to be enough straight to make that work. Ooh, as Wigan has a little bit of a moment coming out of the tight left-hander ahead of the quadruple apex right-hander. Bit uncomfortable, that manages to hold on. No Larks, however, not able to stay with Wigan whatsoever. 5.6 seconds behind now. Watts in P7 followed by Drips in P8. So then, Djokovic back within the DRS range of Ondrzejczyk. Did he maybe just wear his battery out a little bit trying to get out of that DRS range? We'll wait and see. Up 8 out of 10. The skies are clearing up. We're starting to get that beautiful evening sky around the circuit of the Americas. JV8's had an issue going around the S's. I don't believe it's going to cause anything. Just the yellow flag. Incident has been cleared. Back up to racing speed in Sector 1, man. Djokovic unable to get past on unable to get past on the check on that attempt. Oh, just getting a bit slidey. Nassi 7 tenths behind again. Starts dropping back whenever these two get close to each other. But Djokovic is pushing as hard as he can right now. The question is he over pushing the car at the moment? Three tenths of a second then as we're heading into the S's, and now it looks like Ondřejek maybe just lost that advantage slightly that he had heading into the S's. Still slightly stronger here, but not as much stronger as he was on the first opening couple of laps. Two laps to go now then. Question is, does Djokovic try to pull an attack off now, or does he wait until the final moment to? It is risky around here, as we've seen. An overtake is not guaranteed, but here comes Nassi on Djokovic, and this might compromise both of them, or it might be brilliant for Nassi, because guess who's showing up ahead of him? Nassi for the lead of the sprint race on the inside. Are they going to make contact? Yes, they are. Nassi forces Ondřejek wide, and he's going to take the lead of the sprint race after a brilliant maneuver. Nassi 31 out of nowhere takes the lead of the sprint, and Djokovic goes wide. Or goes sideways, sorry, coming out of the right-hander. But Nassi, in a turn of events, takes the lead of this sprint, and now he has one lap where he's got to hold on. Ondřejek is right behind him. Djokovic's not going to be able to offer any sort of support at the moment. Just a bit too far behind. Nassi, Ondřejek, and Djokovic. Here we go then, and this would be a statement of intent if I've ever seen one. If Nassi was able to come back and win the first sprint race back, we'll wait and see. Djokovic at the moment, 3 tenths behind Ondřejek. Ondřejek 2.5 tenths behind Nassi, which could see him in a really good position for the DRS straight. Nassi is in a bit of trouble here, I can't lie. Oh, as both Ondřejek and Djokovic has a sideways moment, but the question is Ondřejek still going to be able to power past Nassi? And I think we're going to get the answer to that one relatively quickly. Nassi can do nothing about it, but he might have stolen P2 away from Ondřejek. Nassi tries the inside. It is not going to work. He's going to try a move out of pure desperation though, Nassi, because there is one place where you can by taking a bit of a different line. But no, he does take the wider line. Djokovic looks like he was going to think about it for a minute there. But Ondřejek is just going to be able to hold on. Just had a bit more battery there at the end with the DRS. Was able to power through. And unless he makes a mistake now in the final 2 corners, Ondřejek is going to come across the line in P1. Nassi takes P2 away from Djokovic there on the second last lap. Djokovic finishes P3, a respectable P3 in the end. Oh, but Nassi is going to be gutted with that. But made the most out of a very tricky situation indeed. Not a massive point swing in the championship. Ondřejek from Nassi and Djokovic. Good points for Squidge and Wigan, P4 and P5 respectively, followed by Beatty in P6, No Locks in P7, followed by Little Rips with his second consecutive points finish in NEF1. He is in P8, followed by Iwatts, who just misses out, and Spenclose in P10. which means then the first stage of the racing action tonight is set. And must be said, the medium tire that everyone was on for this race, they're not looking brilliant, but Donacek manages to overcome that. He beats Nassi to the line by a couple of tenths of a second, and Djokovic is just behind him, as previously mentioned. Squidge and Wigan, good points in P4 and P5, 5 and 4 points respectively, followed by Beatty with a couple of points in P6, No Larks and Little Drips as well with points here in the sprint race. I was just missing out, probably thanks to that penalty. Bit unfortunate, but he's going to be starting in a decent position here along with Spenklos. Darstyle missing out on points down in P11, followed by Padarang, JV8 and Hybrid. Failed to finish after a first lap incident with his teammate, if I'm not mistaken. So then, it is nice, bright morning skies here in Kota for the full Grand Prix. We're going to get underway in a couple of moments, as previously mentioned, and have a quick break before we get the Grand Prix underway. So don't go anywhere, we'll be right back with you. As there we go, we are back, and the ready up has been given to get racing here in COTA for the first of the 2 American races this season. We're going to Vegas in 2 weeks' time, after Brazil next week. Very much into the clutch time of the season, then this one could be huge for the championship. Nassi looks on pace, so does Djokovic, so does Ondrzejczyk. It's going to be a close fight between the three for the win of this Grand Prix. And it'd be a win of the Grand Prix that really could swing the momentum of the championship one way or another. But it's all going to come down to the start. We saw on lap 1 that pole position might not necessarily be the best place to be. Ondrzejczyk still on that outside line for the Grand Prix start, though. 28 laps worth of racing action to go. They're going to go by pretty quickly, I reckon. Nassi this time in P2, followed by Djokovic in P3 on the slightly grippier outside line, with Squidge on the mediums in P4. Nassi opting to start on the hards, doing something different, whilst Ondrzejczyk is on the mediums. A BT also starting on the hard tire in his McLaren, followed by No Larks on the medium and Little Drips on the medium. Iwatts going aggressive on the softs, followed by Spenclose on the medium. Darren Stahl on the medium. Padarang in P12 going aggressive as said on softs, followed by JV8 on mediums and Hybrid also on medium tires. What is going on with a BT at the moment? For some reason it's kicked BT out of the lobby. As there has been some sort of issue, we're working on getting BT back into the lobby as quick as we can. Meanwhile, Ondrzejczyk's leading the formation lap of Nassi and Djokovic then. This is going to be an interesting start. See if anyone can get ahead into turn 1. See if we may have a couple of fireworks. We've not had anything of the sort in turn 1 between the front guys this season. So here we go. Ondrzejczyk lining it up on pole position. He is followed by Nassi and Djokovic. Squidge in P4, followed by Win in P5. The Ghost of Beat is going to line it up in P6, followed by No Larks in P7 and Drips in P8. Iwatts P9, then followed by Spenclose in P10. Darren in P11, Padarang in P12. Jay in 13th and Hybrid all the way back in 14th after terminal contact in the sprint. But here we go then, the Grand Prix is about to get underway as the last cars are lining up on the grid and those lights are coming on and coming off almost immediately. And what is going on there with the other McLaren, I don't yet know, but it's a bad start from Ondrzejczyk. Drops a lot of positions immediately, gets swallowed up on the start here. Nassi gets away well, followed by Squidge and Djokovic. Oh, but Ondrzejczyk not having a good start. Needs to battle past Djokovic as soon as he can. But behind, heading into the S section. Gets ahead of No Larks, though. Heading into turn 1, crucially for him. Makes the most out of a bad situation still. Nassi in the lead of the Grand Prix, then followed by Squidge, Djokovic, Ondrzejczyk, and No Larks. Wigan in P6, followed by Little Drips in P7. Spenclose in P8. Padarang in P9. Hybrid in P10. Darren's just lost a position. Now up a position again. Darren in P10, followed by Hybrid in P11. And it's Ondrzejczyk has a little move. Has a little look down Djokovic's inside, but not able to pull that off. BT down in P13, followed by Iwatts in P14. Still working getting BT into the lobby as a pending invite. Let me know if you need another one. But Nassi at the moment being challenged by Squidge for the lead of the Grand Prix, as well as Squidge goes down inside into the left-hander, following the DRS straight, and he gets that done. Now then, Nasi, Djokovic battling away. Djokovic is going to claim a position on Nasi now as well, as Ondrejek tries to go down their inside, and we might have a little bit of contact. Ondrejek with Nasi and Djokovic just gets a bit messy. Free into that corner, really does not go. Squidge has gone away really well, followed by Ondrejek and Nasi van... followed by Djokovic, Nasi and Ondrejek, sorry, with no larks in P5 getting ahead of Wigan on the start. Wigan losing one position there. Was a bit scrappy at the front there, really. I'm surprised nothing else really went on. But now it looks like the field has just taken a breath or two, and we are back to normal proceedings. Iwatts is into the pit lane, I would imagine, for a new front wing. Yes, it is a new front wing for the Alpine driver. I'd imagine after contact in turn 1, usually the place where stuff happens, is Ondrejek. Maybe has a little look on Nasi 31, but not on this occasion. Djokovic now very much on the back of Squidge, trying to get P1 back, and Squidge had his half a lap of glory, but comes back at him on the next lap. Lap 2 of the race then, and Djokovic is back in the lead. Ondrejek has gone ahead of Nasi on that better medium turbo. Nasi is on the hot, he's on a different strategy. If he can make this work, he'll be set up relatively well for the rest of the race, and this is a track where safety cars aren't too likely. Unfortunately for Iwatts, that is. I'm just going to try to get BT back in once again. Just give me one moment. As there we go, Djokovic has the fastest lap of the race so far. It's 1:36.797. Squidge is following him. DRS has been enabled, and now Ondrejek is on the back of Squidge as well. Nasi on the back of that train, but he is losing a bit of ground. No Lars is catching up to him, and Nasi cannot afford to get caught in a battle with No Lars and Wigan at the moment. He cannot afford to. Ondrejek is right on the back of Squidge 2017, and Djokovic needs to break away from these two a little bit. Just get that 1 second gap and maintain it. At the moment, not being able to do so, which means he's going to lose further time down this main straight. It is going to help Squidge defend a little bit here. Going to go side by side, heading into the left-hander, following the DRS straight. Ondrejek or Squidge? Squidge is going to back out of that one, it felt like a little bit. Not really going to pick a fight with Ondrejek at the moment. His battle's not with him, but it could be with Nasi and No Larks for a podium place. Squidge being clever enough to realise that as Ondrejek gets a bit sideways. But now, Djokovic and Ondrejek, P1 and P2, followed by Squidge and Nasi, P3 and 4. Wigan on the back of No Larks as well. I had a decent start, losing one position though, maintaining most of it, feels like, throughout the chaos that was lap 1 with the front runners, really. Spenclose is on his back. Spenclose had a very good start, actually, along with Padarang, up 3 and 4 positions. P7 and P8 and well and truly into the points, man. Nasi looks like he's now got the situation slightly under control. 9 tenths behind Squidge. Can't afford to lose another 10th. But I say that he is losing a bit through the first sector. But just good enough on this occasion to stay within the DRS range, crucially enough. As here we go, Ondrejek on Djokovic. Is Djokovic going to defend this one too hard? We'll wait and see. Maybe around the outside. Ondrejek might have it covered, forces Djokovic a bit wide, closes the door on him. Ondrejek takes the lead of the Grand Prix on lap 4 out of 28. 4 laps, 3 different leaders around circuit of the Americas. Now Ondrejek in control. Once again, a situation that he does quite fancy. Squidge then in P3, just a couple attempts behind, not too far away though. Djokovic in P2, Ondercheck in P1, Nasi 7 attempts behind now. As BT as well, just try to reset your entire console if that's possible. Sometime, or at least restart the game if you haven't done that already. Ondercheck, Djokovic, Squidge, Nasi, and no Larks. Then is the top 5. Wiggins a bit behind them. Spenclose is starting to put that pressure on Wigan though for P6. So both Williams going along rather strong at the moment. Williams is moving along. Now down the DRS straight then. Is Djokovic going to be able to mount an offensive on Ondercheck straight off? Closing in quite a bit under braking. Not going to send one down the inside. Maybe even could have. Oh, here we have something. Little Drips has retired from this session, coming out of the penultimate corner. What's gone on there? And we have the first safety car of the event. Full car safety car event, much to the delight of Iwatts, I'm sure, much to the despise of Nasi on those hard tyres. Probably hoping for a safety car less race, but it comes early enough that no one else is going to want to switch onto the hards because it won't quite make the end of the race. Lap 6 out of 28. No point in pitting quite yet. No point in pitting quite yet for everyone, as BT's now finally been able to get into the session, thankfully. Just as we're heading into a safety car, so it's a good timing as well. So then, looking at the front run, has still not been picked up by the safety car. Question is 22 laps on a set of hard tyres. They did 10 laps on a set of mediums for the sprint, obviously pushing quite hard for all of those laps. How long can you possibly get on a set of hard tyres? I don't quite know. BT is now in control of his car, love to see it. So he's going to be able to fight his way back up the order. So we have an Aston Martin heading into the pit lane. That is Padarang 900. Start on soft tyres. Got a bit of value out of them, but pitting this early means that value's going to be slightly gone. But means he's going to be able to split his stints into 2 sets of medium tyres, probably. If he has that many set of medium tyres. Is the issue as well. If he doesn't, there's going to be a very long medium stint before maybe another soft stint. Otherwise, the strategy can't really be called brilliant, really. So then, just looking at the top 10, not a lot's gone on at the start. Hybrid up 6 positions, however, after the first set of, after the first minor set of pit stops, mind you. Padarang, Iwatts has come in at the end of lap 1, obviously. ABT not in control of his car at the start, in control now then. See what kind of damage the AI has done to his race. On a set of hards now on lap 6 out of 28. Safety car is going to be out for one more lap here, at least. So then, here we go. On lap, this will be 8 out of 28, so 20 laps flat to go after this one. Undertaking lead of the race on the medium tires versus Djokovic and Squidge also on the mediums. Nasi, his hard tires are soon going to start coming into play. Going to be a bit harder to fire up, however, after the safety car comes in. Nolarks might be able to have a quick go at him. The question is, does he want to, because he'll find himself in a battle with Nasi later on anyways. Wigan in P6 is absolutely going to be interested in Nolux. Apparently they did a bit of battle in the sprint that I don't know about as well. And Spenklo is going to be there around the restart. Hybrid P8, Darren in P9, BT in P10. Remember now, everyone inside the top 10 scores points, as well as the person who scores the fastest lap, regardless of where they are position-wise. However, they must have finished the race in order to claim that point. As here we go then, the safety car is coming in this lap, and Ondercheck is going to have a lot of time on his hand to back up the field here. The safety car is disappearing a little bit. A couple of real interesting places where you could get this race restarted, really. You don't want to do it coming out of the last corner, because the start-finish line is coming up right after it. So it's a tricky one, this, and you can see that by the fact that Ondercheck is basically stopped on track. See, Beta gets a 5-second time penalty for ignoring yellow flag. That's an odd one. As his race unluckily just goes from bad to worse. As here we go then, the race is restarted on lap 8 out of 28. Safety car is in the pit lane, and we are back to green flag racing. And Djokovic got a decent restart, but just following Ondercheck into a little bit of a spinala moment almost. Ondercheck and Djokovic manages to hold on, but that was a scary one for the both of them, I'm quite sure. Nothing else really going on at the back, no real action at any time. BT's got him past Padrang for P9, but that's about it. Djokovic here, right on the back of Ondercheck. Squidge, couple attempts behind him. As here we go, Djokovic's going to try something round the outside on the first racing lap back. Ondercheck's going to have the inside. Djokovic's going to be shown the door around the outside, but he's going to hold on to it. Takes the inside for the next corner. Ondercheck might try to swoop his way back down the inside, and this is going to go on until the next corner as well. Ondercheck on the outside. Surely that's not going to work at this place. No, it's not. Djokovic takes the lead on lap 9. And that was a very, very decent move that from Djokovic. Took him a while to set that up. But Djokovic now in control of this race. Ondřejček having to play second fiddle for a little bit of time here with Squidge in P3. Nasi is going to be watching this from a little bit of distance behind, unfortunately for him, in P4. They'll just be waiting for those tires to start coming alive. Lap 10 out of 28, 19 laps to go. No safety car in sight for the time being. I hope we don't get another one so we can just see how this one plays out. Ooh, as I believe we've had a problem maybe with a BT and Darren Style. Both of them falling down a couple of positions there through VS, especially Darren Style losing quite a bit of time. As here we go, Ondřejček on Djokovic. Is Ondřejček going to try something on Djokovic on lap 10 out of 28, just like Djokovic tried on him? No, it's going to be calm for the time being. Nasi, I'm sure, is feeling anxious to try to get past Squidge, not want to get leaders, not want to let the leaders get away, sorry. But not quite time yet. Has to wait until that DRS becomes enabled at the end of this lap. At which point as well, Ondřejček will be unleashed on Djokovic. It's a long race, it's a long way still to go. At the end of what now would be the sprint. As DRS has been enabled here on lap 11. So then, Djokovic, Ondřejček, Squidge, and Nasi. No Lars Wigan, Padarang, Spanklos, Iwatts, and JV8 are your current points holders. BT a couple of seconds behind JV8, followed by Darren Hybrid, not having a good restart whatsoever, down in 12th and 13th, and Hybrid, so waist behind, I would imagine, has had to come in for a new front wing. The deficit that he has. Ondřejček now on the back of Djokovic with the aid of some lovely DRS. And he gets close. He's gonna send one round the outside. He's gonna try to. It's just that bit too far back. Gets shown the door. Backs out relatively early. As here we go then, down the run into turn 1. We've not seen anyone really try to make an overtake here, which is a bit of a shame because you really could break away in the fast sector if you break someone's momentum as well. So I don't understand why more people aren't trying to do that actually. Nasi has now gonna pass Squidge as well, crucial for his race. Now let's see if those hard tyres start working better than the mediums quite soon. They really should at this point. Lap 12 out of 28, and those mediums, we saw them fall off relatively hard in the sprint race. They should start falling off now. Nasi would love for these two to just get stuck with each other a little bit and fight each other as much as they can. Nasi's gonna have to be wary of the undercut though. He's gotta be wary, but for now he knows that the mediums last 12 laps with a bit of safety car running, to be fair. So make that about 10.5. Ondřejček not getting involved in the battle with Djokovic for the time being. Nasi's not really catching these two yet. As for Spanklos on Wigan, he is catching, he's right on its back, but not able to find his way past quite yet. 16 laps to go. As Tellyu's having a good stint, is Padarang as Squidge is coming into the pit lane first out of the front guys, and that might trigger something. Because if he puts on a decent set of hearts now and goes hard for it, might be able to undercut these guys at a track where I believe the undercut could be quite strong. That might trigger something from Djokovic and Ondercheck that. Where is Squidge going to come out? Is he going to come out in a breath of fresh air? He's going to come out in acres of fresh air. Actually, no, because he might have to tangle with Darren and Nolarks, and he's not going to be intrigued with that! So Darren and Squidge just making contact there on the apex, and that is the dangers with the pit exit around this place. It puts you right on the apex, right on the racing line. And I believe Squidge was a bit lucky almost to not have any further contact with Darren. That could have been much worse than it ended up being. As Djokovic and Ondercheck now proper going at it with each other, side by side yet again through this sector. But Ondercheck not able to get by on this occasion either, but he's wearing Djokovic out at the moment. Nasi is not catching these two. But Djokovic needs to get himself out of this situation. He needs to box. The question is he coming in this lap? Yes, he is. Ondercheck stays out. Djokovic does something different, which I believe was crucial for him. He needs to get away from Ondercheck in some sort of scenario. The question is now, is he quick enough to get out ahead of Nolarks? Is going to be the crucial thing for him. Can't end up behind him. And I don't think that is going to be an issue. He's going to come out beautifully between the Haas and the Alpha Tauri. Perfect placement that from Djokovic. Gets out behind JV8, and now he's going to be able to go after the other guys, and he's going to have a bit of room to play with if he can make it past a BT, which is going to be a bit of a challenge on his still relatively fresh hard ties, you would imagine, as Padarang is now made it past Nasi 31. What has Padarang put in his car that makes him so quick? It's a set of relatively fresh mediums. He's wearing out a lot of battery, mind you. But Padarang up at P2 now, and he's going along well. 3.2 seconds behind Ondercheck. Up 10 positions. Padarang's having a really good race here. As here we go, and Nasi seeming unable really to stay with Padarang as well. Worrying thing for Nasi, he might genuinely have to get rid of these hard ties because they don't seem to be doing him any type of favors. Worrying thing for everyone else, the hards appear to be absolutely rubbish. Now the question is, Ondercheck is doing something different on this stint. Might he try to go onto the softs at the end? It's a very decent chance he could. Might be that Nasi's going to be trying to do the same if that's the case. Djokovic then is on a set of hard tyres, and he is going along, just going past a beat, and is now starting to close in on Iwas rather rapidly, about a 10th a corner almost. Actually more than a 10th a corner. So Djokovic is eating up the gap to Iwas quickly, and with that actually the gap almost to Nasi as well. Nasi now on the back of Padarang. Still not able to get a move done, and Ondercheck is running away with this one. Oh, say BT has had some sort of incident with Nolarks on the main DRS straight. That is the safety car, and that is a nightmare for Djokovic, let me tell you. It has gotten Ondercheck away scot-free with his strategy. Nolarks and ABT are out of this race. very much on a straight as well. I have no clue what went on there, but I'm sure we'll find out. We'll see both perspectives after this one. Padrang coming into the pit lane, but that's worked out brilliantly for him. Nasi coming in as well now. It might have saved Nasi just a little bit as well. Djokovic surely has no choice but to go in. No, he stays out. He's going to take the lead of this race. Maybe. He's not. He's not going to take the lead of the race, and he stayed out regardless. Djokovic might have just shot himself in the head a bit here. Everyone is going to be on brand new soft tyres. Djokovic is going to be on slightly worn hards. Oh, Djokovic, you might have to come in and get rid of those, friend. They're not going to be in too good a shape. Ondercheck then on brand new soft tyres. Might be game over. Djokovic, worn hards. And this is proper bad news for everyone else. Beatty and Nolarks out then through terminal damage on... was it lap 15 out of 28 then on the main DRS straight as well. So always a curious case when you have two cars going down a straight line. As it's a bit unsure what happened. Ooh, Padrang very close to the back of Djokovic. Okay, so then we have a completely different outlook on this race, which is a shame because I was really looking forward to seeing Ondercheck try to catch up to the back of Djokovic, because that undercut would have placed him surely a good couple of seconds up the road. Would have been an interesting one, but we now have a completely different outlook on this race. Djokovic, Djokovic, to be putting it nicely, is screwed in this situation. It's got Padrang and Nasi behind him on brand new softs. They're not going to go easy on him. Squidge still on old hards. JV8 on old hard tires. Everyone behind Wigan, brand new softs. Squidge and Wigan also not really in a good position, and this is where I unfortunately have to remind everyone that there is a big gap in tire performance, so everyone keep that in mind. But positions will be swapped, and they will be swapped straight away on the safety car restart, I'm quite sure. Which I'm sure is going to happen on this lap. We'll wait and see. So we go. Nasi's weaving like a madman, trying to get his tyres up temperature, realizing the safety car is probably coming in this lap. That message should pop up in 3, 2, 1. There we go. Safety car is coming in this lap, and someone please clip that. I'm an absolute wizard. Here we go then. Ondercheck versus Djokovic. Padrang gets a 5-second time penalty for a severe collision with Djokovic. It is such a silly penalty to get. Probably making contact under safety car there. Not sure, but I'm sure we'll have a look at it after the race if anything weird did happen. But then Djokovic is going to be in the worst of positions on this restart then. is called being stranded on bad tyres versus everyone around you being incredibly fast and on well better brand new tyres. That should make the end of this race. 11 laps to go as Undercheck gets the restart away. No overtaking until the start-finish line. And that's already going to allow Undercheck to break away from Djokovic because there's a couple of corners to go before then. Here we go. And already Undercheck with a 1 second advantage. These guys need to get by Djokovic, and they need to get by now. Here we go then. Wiggins had a problem along with Spenklos, and I believe that's 2 hard tire. No, that's a hard tire runner and a soft tire runner. It's had a problem coming out of turn 1, dare I say, was with each other. It's a very decent chance that it was. Nassi now on the back of Padarang might think about a move into the hairpin ahead of DRS straight. Yes, he will down the inside. And he pulls that off now. We'll want to get past Djokovic, maybe even on this next straight. Not lose too much to Undercheck because the battle's still on, even though Undercheck has pulled away out in front, but he's not going to get it done. Padarang's going to come down, it's inside, maybe into the next corner. Yes, he is. Is he going to be able to make that work? The 2 slightly locked wheels. Nassi just has him covered. Iwatts on Squidge then. Squidge with way older tires. Way harder tires as well. Iwatts has pulled out a really good one here and could realistically be on for P4 if he plays this one well. Be a really good result for him. Nassi then now having gone a bit of breathing room to Padarang. Undercheck set the fastest lap at the Grand Prix. And Nassi's free to chase after Djokovic now, still in P2. As Iwatts now past Squidge on track, and he's going to set off the Padarang 900. 2 NEF1 OGs that have been with us since the first ever NEF1 race. Along with Wigan, if I'm not mistaken, those are the only 3 drivers in this lobby that have been with us that long. As Nassi not really making any massive inroads on Djokovic for the time being. Undercheck is breaking away from Djokovic at a little bit of an alarming pace though. And this is now going to be really hard for Nassi to do anything about. P2 might be, or should be salvageable. The P1 is Undercheck's for the taking unless anything else happens. Still quite a ways to go. About 10 laps. As DRS has now been re-enabled by the race stewards. Wiggins still on that hard tire. So Nassi's still hunting, not gaining anything, about a 10th since we last made a comment on it, and not getting closer. So the question is the softs going off that quickly? Because Undercheck's still pulling away from Djokovic here. Whereas Djokovic pulled off a masterstroke in strategy, staying on the hards because the softs are going to go off that hard. We'll wait and see, but Djokovic just getting a bit uncomfortable going through Sector 2. It's not the first time we've seen that, but that was definitely the most scary moment for Djokovic of this session. Surely got proper sideways for a bit. And now that's bringing Nassi a bit more into the fold. As here we go, Spenclose is riding back of Wigan. These two might have had fireworks with regards to each other a couple of laps ago. Let's see if Spenclose can now make it past here on lap 21. Coming up to the dying laps of the Grand Prix then. Feels like it's still gone by relatively quickly. Spenclose on Wigan. Overtaking into the hairpin? No, not quite. But we have a big DRS zone coming up. Should be the ideal opportunity. And Nassi's not making it past Djokovic yet. Djokovic hard's not really firing up to the extent that he would have to. The softs don't seem to drop off that quickly. So I believe Darren's going to make it past Wigan here on lap 21. Wigan's going to try to fight that one around the outside. Unable to. Too little grip on that hard tyre, and Spenclose takes P9. On a race that has been very up and down for Spenclose by the look of things. This is a man who's only looking towards the upside of the American Grand Prix, and he usually does whenever we go to Kota Iwat. Does seem to really enjoy this circuit, and he's enjoying it today. On pace for P4 at the moment. Not being challenged from Squidge behind either on that hard tyre. Iwatts has placed himself in a gorgeous situation. Padrang ahead with a penalty as well. A 5-second time penalty that can be removed upon review. Should have been issued for nothing, mind you. As long as it hasn't been served in the pit lane. In which case there's nothing that can be done about it. Now then, within 1 second, Iwatts and Padrang Iwatts going to have DRS on the Aston Martin ahead of him. Iwatts and Padrang as well, former teammates if I'm not mistaken. So we go, Nassi now 1.6 behind Djokovic, so something's gone wrong for Nassi here. Not able to stick with Djokovic. Djokovic 4.1 behind Ondrejek. But that soft tire seems to be holding up rather decent. Ondrejek appears to be in control of things, let's just say that. Iwatts also appears to be in control of things. He's 1/10 behind Padrang. Ooh, there's a little bit of lag. That's concerning. But here we go, maybe down the run to turn 1, and Iwatts going to be able to pull off that move. Just goes a little bit deep maybe, but pulls it off. Padrang has to concede the place. And Iwatts up to P4 on track and on paper. But from that, everything looks rather calm. Darren Styles on the back of Hybrid, looking for a decent points finish. Hybrid's having a very, very decent season, especially in comparison to his last one. And Darren's now properly getting going here in the second half as well, which is what we'd love to see. So, Darren Style, Hybrid, 4 attempts separated to Not a lot going on at the front. 7-second gap between Nasi and Padarang as well. Nasi can't seemingly close the gap on Djokovic, who is still being dropped a bit by Ondřejk, about half a second per lap. As Darren gets closer to the back of a Hybrid, has to kind of go wide a little bit to take avoiding action. Not too serious, as Padarang's gone back ahead of Iwatts. Did that on the last lap, I'm quite sure, around the DRS back straight. Darren now past Hybrid, somehow into the S section, and why did I cut away from that? Just as it probably got really interesting, I'll never know. But it's just the way it is when doing commentary. You always miss the really interesting bits. Iwatts now with a time penalty as well is not going to help his efforts out. Now really needs to finish out of Padarang on track. Pulls to the inside on the DRS straight and is going to get that overtake done on lap 24. 4 laps to go. So we go, Padarang now P5, still hunting down Iwatts. Iwatts not being able to break away from him at all. But now those hard tires of Squidge maybe seem to start working a bit more because he's close in the back of Padarang. And he's going to go around the outside into turn 1 and he's going to be able to pull that off. Goes a little bit wide on the after the apex. And I see the position P6 still for Squidge 2017. But it did cost Padarang a bit of valuable time. Now I was going to be sending a big thank you card for Squidge after the race. Whilst Padarang's holes getting dug a bit deeper, 3-second time penalty for multiple track limits infractions. Wigan has got him past Hybrid. Hybrid who's having an issue in the S section. And looks to be trying to sort the issue in maximum power, which is a distinct way of trying to get back on track, but it's not really the best one. But the audio glitch in this game has gotten way worse in the last couple of months. So you never know if it is maximum power, if it is just those glitches. Here we go then, nothing really going to happen in front. I think we can confirm that now. Nasi is unable to get close to Djokovic, who actually pulled off a decent one on that hard tires. Damage limitation for Djokovic, and I believe he pulled it off. So he made that work, really. Nasi not really making up any ground. He's losing time now on Djokovic. Djokovic not gaining an effect on Ondřejk. Looking down further, we have Iwatts in the now undisputed P4 for the time being. Squidge is getting a bit closer. We'll see how that all ensues and what penalties apply after the race. Padarang in P6, followed by Darren in P7. Spenklos might be in a decent position here if the others above him have a high amount of penalties. He's really got to be pushing these last couple of laps to get a bit closer. But this could leapfrog Spenklos up the order. But as for the front three, with 2 laps and a couple of corners to go, I think we can confirm not too much is going to happen. No more safety cars for the rest of the Grand Prix. 2 laps remaining, and Ondřejk well and truly in control. Hybrid, 3-second time penalty behind JV8. Multiple track limit warnings, new tyres, And a points position for JV8 once again. Just keeping his nose clean and a pace off. Good race this from JV8 once again. Now Squidgedo has caught up to the back of Iwatts and to make very slight contact heading into turn 1. As Squidge is doing everything he can to take the maximum life out of those hard tires right now. Nassi's losing a big amount of time to Djokovic. Is he just playing this one safe now at this point? Trying not to have an accident, because the amount of time he's losing to Djokovic, I don't really understand it. And now I believe those hard tires might be coming into their own versus softs of Ondřejk and Nassi. With just 1 lap to go, 4.5 seconds, Djokovic got a bit of a time or a bit of a gap to make up, I'm afraid. Iwatts still ahead of Squidge with 1 lap to go then. But at the top 3, it looks like it's going to finish the way of Djokovic, or of Ondřejk, Djokovic and Nassi. Which means that is also the order the championship table is going to be after this weekend. Djokovic, 3-second time penalty. I'm sure Nassi's not going to be too happy about losing that much time over the last couple of laps then. That could have been 3 crucial championship points coming his way, but not quite. Squidge right on the back of Iwatts. It is incredibly close between these two. As Padarang has now retired from this race on the very last lap through the SS. And that is gutting if I've ever seen something so close to a decent point finish as Padarang retires on the very last lap. Oh, that is gutting. As here we go, Squidge versus Iwatts on the last lap of the Grand Prix. And Squidge is going to be able to sail past with the aid of some DRS. Iwatts is going to send it around the outside. He's not going to make it work. Squidge is going to hold on. But what's it going to be after penalties are applied? No penalties will be applied for this man, who once again takes a win in NEF1. He extends his record. He is in the championship lead. Ondřejk takes the win in America. And what a season he is having. He is looking like a lock for the Drivers' Championship at the moment. Djokovic finishes in P2, followed by Nassi in P3. Wasn't able to do anything on the softs at the end. Squidge finishes in P4. It comes across the line in P4. Let's see what ensues. Squidge takes P4 away from Iwatts there on the last lap, who finishes P5. Still a very good performance from the Alpine driver. Followed by Spenclose in P6. Gets a couple of positions on penalties. Good race staff from Spenclose, keeping his nose clean. Then we have Darren and Wigan, both Red Bulls in the points here, along with JV8 in P9 is where he's going to finish this race, without a shadow of a doubt now, and Hybrid in P10. As apparently Padarang's right tyre went bye-bye in the S sector, and that is what caused his little DNF. Just pushing those tyres a bit too hard. That is just purely unfortunate for Padarang there, who was on for a really good race result. But then, what a race this man has had. Once again, looked in control. Very close in the sprint. Could have been very close in the Grand Prix. But once again, Ondřejk just finds a way to run away with it this time. And now, very much in the lead of the Drivers' Championship. Who's going to be able to stop this man? I genuinely don't know at this stage. So then everyone, there we have the results for the weekend, but we're looking at the race result there. Ondrzejczyk, Djokovic, Nasi, Squidge and Iwatts is your top 5, followed by Spenklos, Starren, Wigan 71, JV8 and Hybrid in the top 10. Bit of a weird race, really. Maybe a bit interrupted by the safety car, but not too bad regardless. Not too bad regardless. But Ondrzejczyk comes away with the win, the fastest lap point as well, along with the sprint race win. No one could have beaten Ondrzejczyk this weekend, taking a maximum out of everyone on this occasion and taking a bit of a lead in the drivers' standings. As for Alpine, they're going to be they're not going to be increasing the lead, but they're going to be maintaining the lead basically over Ferrari in the Constructors' Championship, crucially for them, as that battle is coming to a close. We are moving to one of the most exciting tracks on the F1 calendar next week. We're heading to Brazil for the Brazilian Grand Prix in NEF1. That is going to be a really interesting one, so make sure you're here for that. I'm going to have a couple of guys back who wasn't racing today, hopefully. It's going to be an absolute firecracker of a race. So don't go anywhere. NEF1, it is not over yet. We have 4 races to go. It is Brazil, it is Vegas, it is Saudi, until we go to the final race of the season in Abu Dhabi. We hope to see you then, but until then, stay safe, have a good one, and peace out.